because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season.
The WNBA was devastated when ESPN released what seemed to be Caitlin Clark's fallback option, a contract offer from the LPGA. How did a single player get so strong that two professional sports leagues are now vying for her attention in a league that is in dire need of expansion? This has evolved beyond basketball. This contract has the potential to permanently alter women's sports and is about control and leverage.
Of the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is more than a novice. She is a sensation. Clark is already more well-known than the league she was drafted into thanks to her multi-million-dollar sponsorship deals, over 1.5 million followers, and record-breaking NCAA viewership. However, it appears like the WNBA's gem in the crown may be considering a different hue.
I have only seen and heard of positive things. I didn't hear one thing about how her fans are toxic. I didn't hear one thing about there being too much spotlight on Caitlin Clark, and it should have maybe been on the professional golfers that are.
Then the leak appeared. Rachel Nichols, an ESPN commentator, made a shocking revelation during a live segment. The LPGA had formally offered Caitlin Clark a position as a professional. According to insiders, the offer wasn't merely ceremonial. It had a significant sponsorship incentive, performance bonuses, and a multi-event contract.
Fans were really excited about that. There was so much buzz online. She was trending on Twitter, all of the things. And the LPGA was promoting the crap out of this event.
The atmosphere inside WNBA headquarters instantly changed. Clark is the league's top seller of tickets, streaming attraction, and product vendor. It would be disastrous to lose her to golf, even on a part-time basis. League executives reportedly convened emergency meetings within hours of the revelation.
It just goes to show that all of us who have been speaking out about this and saying, like, it doesn't seem like you guys are giving Caitlin, the kind of props that she deserves for bringing all these eyeballs and, the Caitlin Clark effect that we talk about, viewership, money, all of those things. All of the people who were shouting this for the entire WNBA season, this is an instance where we are proved correct.
For Clark, this has nothing to do with quitting basketball. It has to do with choices. Her annual salary in the WNBA is $76,000. Some events in the LPGA pay six figures simply to attend. When you consider that Clark played competitive golf as a child, this backup plan starts to resemble a well-thought-out chess move.
See her at this event. You see the kind of noise that this is making. You see that this is trending on social media. You see that SportsCenter, Bleacher Report, all of these places, every media outlet is covering this, and you don't say anything.
According to reports, the Indiana Fever were not informed before the release. Players have conflicting emotions within themselves. She deserves it, according to some. Others ponder the significance of a rookie surpassing the team in size. Even seasoned athletes are reconsidering their own positions and futures, according to sources.
All of their golfers in one event. And you would be crazy to think that they're not going to have another event and invite Caitlin to it. They're going to invite Caitlin to as many events as they possibly can.
The response on social media was immediate and split. Clark's LPGA option is considered iconic by certain fans. It is viewed as treachery by others. Is she abandoning the league that provided her with a platform? Or is she demonstrating that female athletes are worthy of more than crumbs?
That's what we were talking about this whole season. We were correct. The fans that were saying that the WNBA seems to be trying to quiet the noise of Caitlin Clark, not letting her shine to her full ability, and not, in turn, not helping your own players in the league. We were.
Deeper questions have been raised by Clark's contract disclosure. Would other WNBA players now be able to discuss comparable crossover options? Is this the start of a player-led revolution where multi-sport freedom, income splits, and endorsements become commonplace?
And this event proved it, because the LPGA did literally everything correct. They capitalized on the moment. They found a way to put it on television. They allowed people to be there.
When asked directly, deeper questions have been raised by Clark's contract disclosure. Would other WNBA players now be able to discuss comparable crossover options? Is this the start of a player-led revolution where multi-sport freedom, income splits, and endorsements become commonplace?
And I just don't understand why the WNBA, I mean, I will never understand. I feel like they fumbled so many things this season. They weren't ready for the moment. And this just proves that you can be ready for the moment. There is things that you can.
The message is apparent regardless of whether Clark swings a club or uses up another 3. She is in charge. The WNBA will need to change or risk losing both its future and its star. Caitlin Clark is altering the rules in addition to creating history.
Great players in this league. You have Paige coming in. You have Juju. Do not fumble it with those girls either. Stop fumbling the.
Do you believe Caitlin Clark ought to think about becoming a professional golfer? Would this hinder the WNBA's growth or help it? Tell us in the comments section. If you want more daring and censored coverage of women's sports, subscribe. We have only just begun. Look.
Caitlin Clark played golf during the week, and obviously it was a big deal. Surprisingly enough, an almost bigger deal than on Rattled.
A casual comment made during an ESPN broadcast served as the catalyst for everything. A brief statement made by a renowned sports expert. However, it went off like a bomb in the realm of women's sports. Speculation and discussion quickly erupted on newsrooms and social media platforms. The LPGA reportedly sent a formal contract offer to Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's top-tier sensation whose explosive presence has revolutionized the league's visibility and marketability. A bid that, on paper, was far larger than her present basketball salary and suggested a potential shift towards a multi-league career, which is something that few players are willing to pursue. This realization extended beyond sports. It was about a system that has long been unprepared for the financial and branding power of its female stars coming to light. With record-breaking NCAA viewership, multi-million-dollar sponsorship deals, and an unrivaled social media presence, Clark had joined the WNBA. There was a clear discrepancy between her worth on and off the court and the league's ability to pay her, as seen by her meager official WNBA rookie salary. The WNBA was rocked by the LPGA leak, a multi-event contract that included guaranteed appearance money, performance-based bonuses, and branding incentives that may have outstripped her basketball earnings. Team officials hurried into emergency meetings, trying to figure out how to keep a player whose potential off-court earnings exceeded the league's whole wage range. The league insiders were forced to address long-standing financial disparities that were previously hidden from the general public as the veteran players in the locker room struggled with a range of complex emotions, including admiration for Clark's business sense, worry over her conflicting allegiances, and general worries that she might eventually leave for better opportunities. Fan communities, meanwhile, flourished. Clark has been hailed by some as a trailblazer, proving that female athletes should have autonomy, dignity, and the ability to capitalize on their worth in all sports. Some characterized it as treachery, contending that she ought to devote herself entirely to the sport that made her famous. However, a significant change was taking place behind the widely shared criticism. With her fame, talent, and spirit of entrepreneurship, Caitlin Clark has emerged as the symbol of player autonomy, upending the antiquated WNBA business paradigm and motivating upcoming athletes to demand better. Her calm reply that she was still focused on basketball concealed the fact that her camp was already talking to LPGA officials about the possibility of pursuing a dual-sport career that might change the perception of what a professional female athlete should be. Clark runs the risk of making sports headlines that read dual threat in the most literal sense if she does dabble in the LPGA, even for a short time. Competing in 2 professional leagues at the same time, gaining international recognition and income, and pressuring the WNBA to either adapt or lose its relevance to women's elite talent. Caitlin Clark's tale is not the only one in the larger scheme of things. It tells the tale of how a single athlete's brand value and strategic vision can reveal structural flaws, alter power relationships, and spark a revolution in the way leagues handle their female stars, how sponsors distribute funds, and how fans view athlete autonomy. It is not a scandal, the LPGA leak. It serves as a mirror for an industry that has long needed to be adjusted. One that shows how far women's sports have come because of athletes like Clark, but also how far they still have to go to fairly recognize and reward their brilliance. Perhaps most significantly, it sends a message to all women's leagues, including the WNBA. Adjust or watch your biggest asset, not simply your talent, appear across the street. This includes your star power, branding money, and newly discovered independence.